I'm a superintendent slash principal of a little tiny school in the middle of the Adirondacks that 99 out of 100 people, probably 999 out of 1,000 people would never know where Newcomb is. I think the thing that scared me the most was my very first year. We started with 57 students, and in spring of that year I lost 2. And you know, losing 2 students in a big district isn't much, but with losing 2 students when you only have 57, and when I was at 55, I realized, oh my goodness, this can't continue. I used to have to make a report every year to the board about our anticipated numbers, and they had to do that for a number of years because they were declining so much. They were literally looking at, when do we close our doors? So when I came here, it was like it was my daughter who had been in high school and was coming into 10th grade here. She said, "Dad, the school is so vanilla." And it was like, well, what are you talking about? She says, everybody looks the same, dresses the same, acts the same. And it was like, oh my goodness. And I realized that our kids were not ready for that diverse world that they were going to face. And that was probably the biggest impetus for all of this, is realizing there was such a lack of diversity. And we live in such a globalized world. I had to believe that our kids were unprepared for college, unprepared for employment, unprepared for urban living, unprepared for the rest of the world. And I think that's what caused me to realize I had 2 major problems: numbers and lack of diversity. He's living in Australia. He's in charge of an international program for a private school in Australia, and I'm telling him that, you know, I love what I'm doing. We have a great school, and I said, so we changed subject, and we're talking about how he was enjoying his job, and he's talking about these international students and being such a big percent of his school. And I said, so where do they come from? And he says, Skip, you have people all over the world that want to go to English-speaking schools. And it was like, you're kidding me. And then I started to realize, well, if they want to go to Australia, they probably want to come here. And my brother says, do you realize that international students are the 3rd largest industry in Australia? Wow, I have a great school, beautiful building, wonderful kids, wonderful community. So now I have to market that, and how do I get the world to see what we have here? And I said to the board, I said, I would like to have the freedom to bring in international students, and this is why. But I also told them, you have to give me 5 years. I said, you can't change culture in less than 5 years. We've had tremendous growth, whether it is people from out of state sending kids with grandparents, if it is people moving into our community, if it is people staying with relatives up here to attend our school, or people from out of town driving their kids to our school to be part of something that is successful, and successful not only academically but socially, not only socially but having this international flavor. And so our growth has been both through international students and all these other ways. So we've gotten to the point we've doubled in size, and it's not because Newcomb has grown, it is because of all this other growth. And now we are getting more students than we have homes for. So from that first few years of begging students to come here, now we're turning away students because we just don't have all the homes to place them in. Brighton, coming from Zimbabwe, we knew we were having a student from Africa. It would be our first African, but when he came, that's when we began to realize things. They have 80% unemployment in Zimbabwe. That first Sunday he came home and had dinner with us. After dinner, he said, thank you. And we said, oh, Brighton, you know, we just grilled on the grill and we ate, and then he started tearing up and he said, no, thank you. I said, and my wife said, oh, Brighton, what? You know, we thought he was missing his family or something like that. He says, I never knew life could be like this. And he says, thank you for opening your home for me. When he first came, he hadn't used computers, and the kids taught him about computers and taught him about Facebook. He has more people on Facebook than I would ever dream of having on Facebook. And it is, I think Brighton has changed. I think our opinion of our school. We had a boy from China had never even heard of Tiananmen Square. And he did mention that, well, I think I have heard it, but it was nothing. And when he did his research paper on Tiananmen Square, I think it really impacted his entire life. He had no idea what had occurred over there. When I look at some of the countries, Lebanon, we have had a student from Lebanon, from Thailand, from all of these nations, 25 different nations. It will, I think it has impacted our students for their lives as well. And they communicate through Facebook, through Skype and all these things. So all of our students are still in contact with the students who have been over here. And that is an amazing thing to me. We have grown our world of Newcomb, so it is now globally around the world. That's pretty cool for a little town like this. I think in my case, I wanted to create something successful for my little school district, impacting the lives of my students, my staff, my community, and then bringing in these students one-on-one. And if you can change a life, then you have a possibility of changing a family. You change a family, you can change a community. You change a community, you can change a world. But the reality is it does happen. I'm a believer on one-on-one, and it happens one-on-one.